I'm making this announcement in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, Laws of the State of New Jersey. Borough Clerk has prepared a schedule of the meetings of the governing body of the Borough of Kenilworth for the year 2023. The Borough Clerk has posted a true copy of the schedule on the bulletin board located at the front entrance of Borough Hall, and has mailed true copies of this schedule to the local source, the Star Ledger, and the Home News Tribune, and is maintaining a copy of this schedule in her office during the year 2023. Accordingly, the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied in regard to this meeting. Please stand for the salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Finestrella.
Here.
Councilman Morrow.
Here.
Councilman Pence.
Here.
Councilman Puglisi.
Here.
Councilman Scurese.
Here.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Here.
Mayor Carlo.
Here. At this time, I'd like to congratulate Glenn Gallo as well on your retirement. Councilman Puglisi is going to read a proclamation for you on behalf of Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Glenn. Just come up, let's present it to you. I, like Mr. Paserno, I guess we all have, right, we dealt with Glenn, pretty much as much as we had to go to the post office to pick something up. Unfortunately, being attorney, I always drop him off certified mail, and usually stacks of it, usually around 4:45, when he wants to close. But you know, once I found out that you were retiring, actually you mentioned it to me a couple times, but once I found out about the date, me and the rest of the council thought for sure, the mayor, to give you this proclamation. You are a face of Kenilworth. Everyone in town knows you, so we're sorry to miss you. But I will read this proclamation that was drafted, and it's from the Borough of Kenilworth, and it's signed by the mayor and all the council members. And it says, whereas Glenn Gallo began his career with the Kenilworth Post Office in 1985, proudly following in his footsteps of his father, who had worked as a Roselle postal worker for more than 30 years. And whereas throughout those 38 years, Glenn has truly enjoyed the community and the personal interactions which have allowed him to get to know his customers, some of which have become longtime friends. Whereas on September 29, 2023, Glenn retired from his career at the Kenilworth Post Office, and upon his retirement, he took the opportunity to thank the Postal Service for a great career that he's proud of, the Kenilworth Police Department for keeping postal workers safe, and the Kenilworth community for giving him many heartwarming memories. And whereas after 38 years, beginning his work at 4 a.m., Glenn can leave his alarm off, relax, spend more time enjoying his time with his dog and pal, Blue, and it's spelled B-L-E-A-U, right? And begin thinking about taking some time to travel in the future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the governing body of the Borough of Kenilworth take great pride and pleasure in congratulating Glenn Gallo on his retirement and extend best wishes for continued success in the next stage of his life. The witness hereto, the governing body of the Borough of Kenilworth, have hereto signed officially and caused the seal of the Borough of Kenilworth to be affixed on this proclamation. Congratulations again.
I am lost for words from this small town. Gorgeous. I couldn't ask for better people to be able to help out, get on their way, except Freddie at 4:45. The police department, borough and council, thank you everyone very
Thank you.
much for a wonderful
We'll miss
career
you.
and being safe here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Congratulations, Glenn.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the Borough CFO that we're going to talk about the best practices inventory.
Sure. So every year the state issues a best practice. The main goal is to assess each municipality's compliance with various laws and evaluates the implementation of fiscal and operational best practices, as well as them if you scored and unscored. There was 48 scored questions. You're allowed to answer on some of them, mostly yes, no, or non-applicable, but you have to comply and get 29 yes questions. So I'm pleased to report out of the 48 questions, there was only 4 no's. You know, 1 or 2 of the no's I think are difficult to convert into yeses, one being electric vehicle charging station on municipal property. Another one is a formal policy to purchase hybrid cars. So, I mean, most people I know, those are kind of no, especially for the smaller towns. A couple, and the other 2 no's, one of them is, you know, we had a difficult year with the budget, getting it introduced sometime with the Merck appeal, so that was delayed. And the other one was the surety bond for the CFO. That was under the limit. I've already talked to the risk manager. That's being brought up right away. So we definitely will be able to easily, hopefully with the budget, you know, our goal is to get it introduced early and adopted this year. So I think it's a lot to be proud of that Kenilworth is in the top grouping.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has any questions on any of the questions that were in there. Everybody was provided a copy.
Yep, I've read it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Nice job, thank you,
Yes, thank you.
great job.
Okay, is there a motion to accept and approve the following minutes of the work session of October 18, 2023, and the council meeting of October 18, 2023?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Canestrell.
Yes.
Councilman Morrow.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scarice.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to remind everyone, St. Teresa's Food Pantry is desperately looking for donations of food, gift cards to food stores, generally in $25 increments. I think most people in the community know that they make Thanksgiving baskets, several hundred of them. And as far as the traditional trimmings that generally go in there, I believe is it the Silver Card Association that donates turkeys? I'm not sure if they're doing that again this year.
Police Department, the
Police
Civil War
Depa-
Association, Fire Department, and the Veterans Center.
Okay. So very generous, thank you. With the turkeys, they make baskets, so all the things that you would buy for yourself, traditional stuffing and cranberry sauce and whatnot, they like to put that together, and they like to give each person a $25 gift card to buy the perishable items that they might need to prepare Thanksgiving dinner as well. So if anyone can find it in their heart to make a donation to the food bank, they definitely would appreciate it, and I'm sure a lot of people in our community would as well. Thank you. Finance report, Councilman Puglisi.
Thank you. As you heard, we scored the highest rating for the best practices that exist. And again, I just want to, like John did, thank Joy and Ken for this, and Angela, and our department heads who helped make this happen. Obviously, what I understand is that if you don't, unless you achieve that goal, they can cut how much state aid you receive, right, from the Department. The Department of Community Affairs oversees it, so, I mean, thanks to everyone working for the borough, and Freddie, Chief Seuss as well. So, the Finance Committee, as Angela stated, our administrative officer, we're discussing personnel policies, but the fine tuning is being done by Angela and our labor attorney. So we kind of, Billy, I, and Joe gave her what we would like to see. Now, she's got to actually, put the dressing on it and deal with counsel. So that's I guess the harder part of the whole situation. And let's see, that's all. Oh, and then Angela's also working on the new employee time policy. Again, that's going to be effective in 2024. And lastly, we also met to discuss the property and that's an ongoing situation, and we plan on meeting again sometime in the future. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Department of Public Works, Councilman Fenestrella.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to report, DPW provided the report for autumn leaf pickup. It's already began Monday, October 30th, and they're going to pick up leaves at the curb. They don't need to be bagged, you could just leave them at the curb. If they're bagged, they'll just rip open the bag and then have the vacuum just suck it right up. Please try to leave any foreign debris, any branches or any stones out of that, which will damage the vacuum equipment. The recycling schedule, north side pickup, has already begun on October 30th, and then on the south side will be November 6th, and then it'll alternate. So the north side was the 30th, November 13th, November 27th, and December 11th. Then the south side will be, again, November 6th, November 20th, December 4th, and December 18th. During this time, the usual Wednesday rush pickups are going to be suspended, and then we'll resume in January 2024. If you have any vegetative waste or branches or any brush, you can bring it to the DPW and they'll gladly accept it. The pumpkin recycling is new, and the Department of Public Works yard will accept all pumpkins for free during November. So just bring the pumpkins to the Public Works facility at 401 Sheridan Ave on Friday or Saturday, November 4th, or Saturday, November 18th. The Department of Works will take the pumpkins to a facility where they will digest and convert to electricity. Plastic recycling. Plastic containers stamped with recycle symbol type of 1, 2, and 5 can recycle. In the past, it was just 1 and 2. Now, we've accepted recycling number 5. Dispose of any other plastic types without the 1, 2, or 5. You could also bring recycling to the yard. There's a facility at 401 Sheridan Ave is open for recycling drop-offs Monday from 7 a.m. Drop-off Fridays from 7 a.m. to 2:30. Glass approved type 1, 2, and 5 plastics go to a separate dumpster, and cardboard and paper their own separate dumpster. Facility is open on the first and third Saturday of each month from 7 a.m. till noon. The next open Saturday will be November 4th, and then November 18th, and December 2nd, and then December 16th. Trees, the Department of DPW superintendent is making time each week to tour and check every tree that has been reported and logged for a work request in 2023. Emergencies always take precedence, so please be patient. Healthy trees can be trimmed as necessary, but will not be removed at the borough expense. However, residents have an option to remove a tree on their property by submitting a tree waiver form from our website and having it approved by the borough leadership. During the month of October, 9 trees were pruned by DPW and 1 tree was removed. The issue with the excessive lighting has been resolved. Superintendent has checked out some lighting that was pointing directly into neighbor on 16th Street, and that issue was resolved. And I think that's about it, unless you have anything. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Public Safety, Councilman Zimmerman.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the monthly report from October from Chief Seuss. For the month of October 2023, the Kennewick Police Department responded to 1,303 calls for service and 183 911 calls. There were a total of 363 hours of overtime for the month, which was primarily patrol overtime, which was 169.50 hours. Dispatch overtime was 132 hours, and the Detective Bureau investigations and call-outs was 61 hours. Also, Kennewick Police Department officers completed 688 hours of training for the month of October, including biannual firearms training, use of force training, pursuit training, and defensive tactics training. Kenmore Police Department officers also issued 225 traffic summonses for the month of October. There were 5 total sick days used for the month and no sick occurrences or on-the-job injuries for the month of October. October was an extremely busy month for the police department. Officers had 24 arrests for offenses ranging from active warrants to shoplifting to armed robbery. Kenmore Police Department also responded to half a dozen shoplifting calls as well as over a dozen motor vehicle thefts and motor vehicle burglaries. Officers also responded to approximately a dozen flock alerts, including a stolen vehicle that had just attempted a robbery in Roselle Park, which resulted in the arrest of 4 juveniles and 1 adult out of Essex County. Also earlier today, Lieutenant Chris Bryson and Sergeant Michael Scaniello from the Detective Bureau, with countywide representatives for the Union County Municipal Task Force. The task force plans to begin operating shortly, and we hope that they will assist in combating these motor vehicle thefts and burglaries in all these suburban towns, including Kenilworth and our surrounding towns that are being hit with similar Kenilworth Police Department incidents. And they also plan to deploy targeted patrols, unmarked vehicles, and plainclothes details in the near future to combat the thefts and burglaries of motor vehicles. Also, the ARRIVE program for Union County North is up and running and off to a great start. Kenilworth officers Sean Carrick and Ray Ficino have received all relevant training and have begun working the ARRIVE car. Kenilworth Police Department also used the ARRIVE program twice in the last week with great results for 2 calls we had of individuals who were suffering from a crisis. Kenilworth Police Department units were freed up and the individuals received the care that they needed. Also, on another note, Diane O'Neill, the Chief's admin assistant and secretary, retired effective November 1st, 2023 after 21 years of service to the Borough of Kenilworth. And I'd like to say just a shout out to Diane. She was also my secretary when I was the chief, that she did a phenomenal job. She always went above and beyond, and she's gonna be sadly missed. And I wish her the best in her retirement and success, and a lot of rest and relaxation and vacations. And I was also spoke to Angela about, see if we can get a resolution for her at the next meeting, for her service to the Borough of Kenilworth, because she has given her blood, sweat, and tears here.
Definitely.
Also, last but not least, I'm sure most people are aware that an 8-year-old boy from Kenilworth was struck last night while trick-or-treating on Michigan Avenue. He was crossing South Michigan Avenue at Newark Avenue when he was struck by a vehicle headed southbound. He was transported to University Hospital where he was admitted in guarded but stable condition. At last check, he was alert and conscious and able to walk under his own power. The investigation into the accident is ongoing, and we are praying for a full recovery and complete recovery of this Kenilworth juvenile. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Councilman. Very sad. We'll pray for the family.
Very sad.
Yep.
We all, please keep him and his family in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
What time was it at roughly? Was it dark already or?
About
It's
7:30?
Just after 7 o'clock, Council.
Yeah, around, just
You
a
know,
little bit
we
after
are all
7.
celebrating, enjoying Halloween, and
So
we have
it
a
wasn't at
tragedy like
that
that.
crosswalk that's illuminated?
It was not at the whole light, it was the, where the bakery is.
Block Center?
Yeah, Block Center, the bakery
Yeah.
over there.
Where the old Michigan Deli used to be,
Okay.
right there.
Yeah,
They were, they were actually in the crosswalk, the mother was crossing the street with them, and the car coming southbound just never saw him. Never slowed down, never hit the brakes.
It's really awful. Okay, thank you, Councilman. Planning and zoning, Councilman Morrow.
Thank you, Mayor. Horrible story. I'll start with planning for what I'm gonna talk about. No changes from where we were at the last meeting. As I stated there, we were seeing low activity, but the planner had 2 applications on hand and has his 45 days to look at them. They haven't come out yet, but we should see some things picking up more towards the end of next month. From the complaints area for the month of October, we were actually pretty low when you look at past months. For code enforcement, we only logged 3 complaints and no violations to come of that. For zoning complaints, we had 1 complaint and 1 notice violation, which led to a summons being issued. Applications, we saw a slight increase in the month of October compared to September. We saw the sale of 6 commercial properties in the industrial parts of town. We saw 3 businesses be applied for, a couple of hair salons, barbershops type of things, and a nice mix of patios, gazebos, and HVAC applications from residents in town. The building department itself saw about 30 construction permits being issued in the month of October. So a lot of activity coming up in town. I have some noteworthy mentions here. The borough website, we have all these new ways of talking to people now, putting forms up there. We've gone up there and refreshed all the fees that now reflect the current fees from all of our updated ordinances, as well as made the applications a bit more user-friendly. You'll notice a bit of the contextualization of words being moved around and hopefully a better user experience for people using it. So we're trying, and please share your feedback. Also noteworthy, I mentioned this in the workshop session, I want to especially shout out our superintendent of the DPW. Greg, it's been great listening to all the things you tell us when we're here. And I got a special shout out, usually asking for statistics of all these types of things I report on from the building department. And they made it a note to say how much of a pleasure it is to work with you as an arbor specialist, because when the trees are coming down, as Joe was noting, it's a combination of our departments doing a little work together. And they never had service the way that you're providing it for them. And they wanted to tell me that. So I want to tell you that. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And while I'm on the note, I'll take a bit of a sidetrack. Our world is literally on fire, no matter what you're looking at, any news station. Chief Seuss, it is just so heartwarming to see your honored detectives up here interacting with your police force on the street, listening to John all the time, giving all these great reports. It's the one little comfort we have in our crazy world when you think about safety, so thank you for that. So sorry for going a little off record on that one, or offshoot, but
It's okay.
I'm done there.
Very
Thank you.
nice, thank you. Okay, Recreation and Fire, Councilman Pence.
Thank you, Mayor. Recreation report, the spectacular was a success with 390 participants, and the plans for next year have already started. You can still register for basketball through Community Pass, but registration is closed on November 10th. Practices start on November 27th. The winter events and activities will be posted and sent on via email on the Rec Facebook page and on the borough website. And I don't have a fire report.
Okay, is that all?
That's it.
Thank you, Councilman. Health, Education, and Human Services, Councilman Scarice.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll start off with referendum news for our schools. Board of Education has awarded all the contracts, and construction is it's underway. The HIVAC work has begun. Electrical work required to install efficient HIVAC units in all district classrooms is being done at night, David Burley Middle School. The modern equipment will result in lower energy bills. They're about to break ground this year on the centerpiece of this new project from the 2022 referendum, the Braley addition that will create a distinct middle school and state-of-the-art science labs for high school students. That phase of construction will continue through 2025 and will include renovations of the Harding and Braley auditoriums. Once work is completed, 6th graders will move to Braley for a more age-appropriate learning environment. The transition will also free up space for pre-K at Harding. Also regarding the turf field, students and community will benefit from the upcoming field area improvements expected to begin after Thanksgiving. We chose synthetic turf for all weather availability and to be consistent with surfaces that the students athletes play on at most of their opponents' fields. This is Superintendent speaking. We still believe the turf is the best fit for our district, and they're basing this on ESPN review of internal NFL safety data, which I'll pull up here. All right, so the NFL is saying they have contradicting numbers coming from players, agents, and coaches who have called for the league to convert. The NFL has no plans to convert any of their fields. Our league stats don't see issues with the type of surface that we have as opposed to natural grass. We don't see issues, no facts to bear out. The NFL uses an NFLPA third-party company, IQVIA, to compile and analyze data on every injury suffered during every season. Their Joint Service Committee uses data to compile injuries in each of the 30 stadiums the league plays in, paying particular attention to injuries that occur without contact could potentially be attributed to the surface itself. Those injuries are classified as non-contact and to the lower extremities, knees, ankles, and feet. ESPN obtained a chart plotted those injuries over the past 4 seasons. As recently as 2019, the rate of such injuries was notably higher on artificial turf than grass, but the difference began narrowing in 2020, and by 2021, the numbers were almost the same. Artificial surfaces had an incident rate of 0.042 per 100 in 2021, while the rate for natural surfaces was 0.041 per 100. That ratio replicated during the 22 preseason, according to Jeff Miller, the NFL's executive vice president. So they have some other data. I don't know why it would change, but maybe they have to get used to it. It's extremely not clear why the rate difference narrowed, though part of the reason is that injuries on grass increased from 18 to 21. Stadiums are ordering replacements on average every 2 or 3 years, replacing their fields. And they're also working with field managers to optimize care for the turf. So Burley will be going forward with that. They think it's going to be okay. They're going to be working with architects who have extensive experience installing synthetic turf and select the latest products that are the best for our student athletes. All right, so that's all that work is underway. Let's go to, I got both the other emails. Hold on. And our buddies at the library. Children programming at the library. Remember that you must register for these programs. Their space is limited. Thursday, November 2nd, 9th, and 16th, from 3:30 to 4 as a Lego at the library. Friday, November 3rd and 17th, crafts at 3:30, ages 4 to 9. Monday, November 6th, 13th, 20th, and 27th, ages 3 and up. Story time for ages 3 and up. Wednesday, November 8th, story time 2 to 5, 10:30 to 11 o'clock. Muggy Babies for infants 2 to 4 years old, 10:30 to 11. Tuesday, November 14th, to dog program 4 to 5. Monday, November 20th, craft ages 10 to 14, 3:30 to 4:30. Let's see, adult programming. Thursday, November 2nd, 9th and 16th, Yarnies 2 to 4. Tuesday, November 7th to 21st, Pals for adults 2 to 4, from 2 to 4 p.m. Monday, November 13th, Pals 6 to 7:45 at night. All programming information can also be found on the library website, Facebook page. If any questions, call the library at 908-276-2451. And the seniors had a Halloween bingo, and we got a lot of positive feedback. That was a pretty good success. Even had agents from Elizabeth Economic Development came and liked it. Also, Angela, is any word on the Wi-Fi issue?
I do, it is actually an issue, AJ is looking at it.
Oh, you still looking at it?
Yeah, because the problem is it's not, you can't just give people access because, and I know a little techie, but not enough, but the problem is security, right?
Okay.
So he may need to create another, another connection so that we don't run the risk of them triggering something that could ruin our network,
Okay,
right? So that's really the main issue.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll making
So,
progress now.
yeah, he is looking at it, there were a couple of ways to do it, we may actually
Like a
just,
guest network.
we might need a second service, and that's really what it is, the problem, it's not, and you can't, it's not just the fact of getting a guest network, which, cause I did ask him that, so he's looking at it.
Okay.
Because they did also reach out, just so you know, they reached out to me about the computer there. They really just want to be able to get access to the internet. It is the borough's computer. I did confirm that for sure. We don't have a problem with them using the computer, but if they're using that to get access to the internet, the problem is if they go on their email, they click something, it's, you know, it's malware or something, it could destroy our network, so
Okay.
it's,
Yeah, so we'll have to be.
he is looking at it, we do wanna help them, but it's not a simple solution.
Okay. That's why we have them there.
Yeah.
And, that's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Is there a motion to accept and approve committee reports?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next for council consideration is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Can I ask a question to our town attorney first?
Sure.
Mark, you'd noted about ordinance 2023, I guess 27, needing the planning board referral. Resolution 246 does that for ordinance 26. Do we need to have a resolution added to refer to the planning board here, or is it just in the ordinance?
You can either do it by way of resolution or in the body of the ordinance. So during the transition, some of these were begun, had been drafted by the old office. And one was done by resolution, one was done by ordinance, and one was omitted. So I opted to correct it by including it in the ordinance, which is the way that I prefer it. But either way works, as long as there's an official recommendation for referral.
Okay, so we'll save it for the ordinance. Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to make sure we
Okay,
did it
sure.
the right way. Thank you.
No problem.
No worries.
Next for for consideration is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
The consent agenda consists of resolutions 2023-244 through 2023-252. These resolutions will be approved by one motion. All items will be recorded individually in full in the minutes. Councilman Finestrella.
Yes.
Councilman Morrow.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scurisi.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
We have three ordinances for introduction. Ordinance 2023-26. Ordinance adopting amendments to Chapter 120 Land Use, Part 3 Zoning, Article 24 Accessory Uses, Buildings and Structures, Section 1 Requirements for Residential Accessory Uses and Structures of the Municipal Code of the Borough of Kenilworth.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-26 for introduction?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Finestrella.
Yes.
Councilman Morrow.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scurisi.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2023-26 heretofore introduced has now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on December 6, 2023 at 6:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage. Ordinance 2023-27, ordinance adopting amendments to Chapter 120 Land Use, Part 1 Administration, Article 1 Title, Purpose, Scope, and Definitions, Section 1.4 Definitions, and Part 3 Zoning, Article 22 General Regulations, Exceptions and Modifications, to include Section 22.18 Short-Term Rentals, and adopting Chapter 161 Short-Term Rentals to the Municipal Code of the Borough of Kenilworth.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance?
Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
I would like there to be a motion to amend the body of that ordinance, and if I may recite what the change would be, and
I'll make the motion and then you can recite, does that, or I'll ask for a motion? Okay,
As for a motion, then I would like to recite it and have a motion to amend it to include.
okay. Is there a motion to amend ordinance 2023-27?
Motion.
Second.
No, you can't second it.
Oh,
We're
I'm
gonna
sorry.
change, correct? You didn't mean to do that, correct? Okay, so then the language that I would suggest to be changed is that what was formerly identified as section 5 be moved to section 6, what was formerly section 6 be moved to section 7, what was formerly section 7 be moved to section 8, with the insertion of a new section 5, which will read, after adoption by Borough Council on first reading, comma, a copy of this ordinance shall be submitted to the planning board for a consistency hearing, comma, pursuant to NJSA 40:55D-26A, as required by NJSA 40:55D-64.
Do I need a motion to accept
Yeah,
that
there's a
amended?
motion to amend it to include those changes.
Is there a motion to amend the ordinance 2023-27 to include these changes?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-27 for introduction?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Councilman Finestrella.
Yes.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scurisi.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2023-27 heretofore introduced does now pass on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on December 6, 2023 at 6:00 p.m., or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance be further considered for final passage. Ordinance 2023-28, an ordinance amending Part 2, General Legislation, Article 30, Conditional Uses, Section 120-30.5, List of conditional uses, zones where prohibited, to provide that nonprofit chartered membership organizations are conditionally permitted in residential zones, subject to additional conditions, and Section 120-30.6, nonprofit chartered membership organizations, to establish additional conditions upon which nonprofit chartered membership organizations are permitted in residential zones.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2023-28 for introduction?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Finestrella.
Yes.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilman Pence.
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi.
Yes.
Councilman Scurisi.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Be it hereby resolved that ordinance 2023-28 heretofore introduced does now pass on first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on December 6, 2023 at 6:00 p.m., or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the Borough Council, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance can be further considered for final passage.
Is there a motion to open the floor to the public?
Motion.
Second.
Does anyone have anything to say for the good and well-being of Kenilworth? Please come forward and state your name and address.
Hello, I'm Gail Snyder, 27 South Michigan. I'd like to request a garbage can be placed on the corner of 14th and Boulevard by the schoolyard there. I do a lot of walking, and we go by there all the time, and there's garbage thrown on the walkway and also in the grass area.
Are you talking about on the school property?
No, in front. well, I don't know if that's
On the tree
considered
lawn, on
school
the tree.
property or not. You know, along the fence line, you know, in front of the fence, there's the.
Along the road,
along
in between the road and the
Yeah,
sidewalk.
Yeah, and the sidewalk. A bus stops there, people are throwing their coffee cups down before they get on the bus, or when they get out of the bus. They have something, they throw it on the ground, and it's just littering
Yeah,
around.
sure.
You know, I'm just asking for a garbage can to be put there and.
Can we look
you
at
know,
that, Greg? Put
clean
a
it up.
garbage can there? The DPW is gonna take a look at putting a garbage
Okay,
can there.
thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention, we appreciate it.
John, does the fence, is there an entry to the schoolyard from that corner?
Yes,
'Cause I remember growing up, like, we used to always like walk
And
towards
there
the
used to be a
boulevard
gate on
from
the
there.
inside of the fence.
Right.
They've been
Right.
securing that fence,
Yes,
so you can't actually get into that can.
yeah.
It's unreachable. It's a 55-gallon drum that's in there.
Okay.
I walk my dog past there every night, so yeah, it's, she's right, there is no can that's accessible. Unless you walk all the way around and came to that can and came all the way back.
That's
not-
not.
that's not-
No one's gonna do that.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say
Okay,
it.
anyone else?
John Zimmerman, 26 North 7th Street, Kenilworth, New
Hi,
Jersey.
John.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My question is, you mentioned that the 5th grade from Harding School is moving to the high school.
Sixth grade.
Oh, I'm sorry, 6th grade is moving to the high school.
Yes.
Okay, so is that because, you said for a better educational experience? Does that mean they're gonna have to expand the high school in the future because they're
Well, they are
moving to 6th
building a
grade?
middle school.
Sorry?
They are building a new middle school.
I'm sorry.
The school, the Board of Education is building a new middle school.
Second floor to, another
The
floor.
Yeah,
referendum that
well,
passed.
they're building a building too, on the side.
So they're gonna rebuild the new middle school inside Harding School, is that it?
No, it will be I don't know all the details, like these questions would be better for the Board of Ed. But it's my understanding that they're going to be renovating all the schools, and there will be a middle school that will be built where the soccer field is. Am I right? I think
Not
that's,
the whole soccer field, but
Not the
there's gonna be a
whole,
new wing.
right, new wing,
Yeah,
yep.
abutting the soccer field.
Yep.
On that side of the.
You're gonna encroach basically.
there was a referendum I think you could have voted on.
I know,
Did you
but
not vote?
I don't know if that was stated in the referendum, and I know we voted on expanding the budget for the high school, for the education system in Kenilworth. My other question was, there's not a problem with the 6th graders staying in Harding School, or is it overcrowding, or?
I can't really answer that question accurately. I am assuming it's overcrowding, but it's just, I don't know the reasons why.
As a
My
parent of a
daughter's-
7th grader, I could tell you, it's not common to have elementary school up to the 6th grade. It is the anomaly. Some towns have it, but it is not common, and the middle school usually is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Right.
So that's what we'll have, and by doing that, it expanded space in Harding to allow for more pre-K, which I think Mr.
Right.
Screese was saying. So they're,
The whole school will be revamped, and ultimately, I think for the good of the future of the borough, for the
Thank you.
families in town.
It seems to me there are less kids in each grade now than when we were going there.
Yeah,
So-
we had Garwood going with us too, so it is a
Right.
little different.
Yeah.
I asked about capacity, they're saying,
Okay,
the numbers have been up since, say,
yeah.
10, 15 years ago, they're up higher.
And they do have the choice program too, so. they do
Yep.
have
Well,
that.
that's what, yeah.
Okay, does anyone else from the public have anything to say? Okay, seeing no one, I'd like a motion to close the floor for public discussion.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, does anyone else have anything to say for the good and welfare of the borough?
I have one last thing, Mayor, I'd just like to, I know we don't have another council meeting for November because we have Thanksgiving coming up, but I just wanted to recognize Aiden Devlin. Aiden, on behalf of the Eagle Scout, Aiden John Devlin, I received a letter that he is going to be made, he's achieved the rank of Eagle Scout, Aiden John Devlin, and the highest honor as a Boy Scout of the Boy Scouts of America. Multi-year journey to the Eagle Scout Award is one of the most involved and transformative experiences a young person can have. You try new things, Through merit badge programs, develop confidence in the outdoors, practice leadership tactics, and plan, develop, and give leadership to a service project that benefits their community. For Aiden's Eagle Scout Service Project, he cleaned out, reorganized, and labeled Union County Parks Department hardware closet. But the scouting experience goes far deeper than one big project. Aiden also learned planning, organization, and leadership, which will help him throughout his life. And in addition to passing along word of Aiden's hard-earned accomplishment, she wanted to say that he worked hard, and that this letter here is a testament. I know Aiden has been dedicated to the Boy Scouts Troop 83 that meets at our Veterans Center, and I'm honored and very happy to see that he reached the rank of Eagle Scout, which unfortunately I never did. I was in Boy Scouts, but I gave up after life Scout rank. So it is a lot of work, it is a lot of dedication, and I just want to say congratulations to him and his family on his accomplishment.
Yep, I'll
And,
second that.
Wish him the best and a great future, for sure.
Congratulations.
Yes, absolutely.
And just last but not least, since we are not meeting for Thanksgiving, I wish everyone and their families a warm, happy, and healthy Thanksgiving. Be thankful for what you have. There's a lot of people in the world that we live in, like Billy said before, is tumultuous right now. And we have a lot to be thankful for, everyone. And please, pray for those that are less fortunate than us. And thank you.
I'd like
Thank
to
you.
make a couple announcements. One thing that doesn't get recognized that much is Veterans Day, which is in a couple of weeks.
November 11th.
VFW, there'll be a
It'll
ceremony,
be November 11th at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock in VFW.
Yes.
Prior to that, if anyone's free, this is Saturday at 8 a.m. We're all meeting at the VFW downstairs for a light breakfast, and then shortly thereafter on 9, heading over to Graceland Memorial to put flags down on all the veterans' graves. So anyone, it's open to the public and
That's nice.
interested, 8 a.m. meet at the VFW. If you can't make it, meet at Graceland at 9. Bobby G will be handing out a bunch of flags to be deployed. It's a wonderful thing to see all the flags.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to do.
Mhm.
And lastly, in case everybody hasn't realized, Sunday morning, 2 a.m., fall back an hour, so. Fall back.
I don't mind falling back. It's going forward. It gets harder and harder every year as I get older.
And Mayor, just, I have one thing, it actually dovetails into what John was talking about and what you were talking about, Joe, about the veterans. I received a letter from one of our local resident historians regarding Kenilworth, Dorothea Kriak, who's also a member of the Friends of Blackbrook Park. She's actually a founder of the group that I belong to as well. But anyway, she did some research regarding Kenilworth's involvement in the Revolutionary War. So I just want to read some excerpts about it and how that she explained to me and as a result of her research. Let me just tell you what she found out. And you can tell that it took a lot of time for her to, especially some of these portions, to figure out. What is now Blackbrook Park, there used to be a gentleman by the name of Daniel Sayre, and he was a militia soldier. And he fought along with the militia. Anyway, that's where his colonial homestead was. And just going back to that time where the Battle of Connecticut Farms took place, and that was on June 7th, 1780, right? He had his colonial homestead in that area. So at that time, as we all know, there was no Kenilworth, right? So Kenilworth was part of this area called Connecticut Farms. And Kenilworth was part of that area for about 140 years, from 1667 to 1808. Later, ultimately, we became part of Union, and we continued to be part of Union until finally 1907, where we became our own incorporated municipality. And but not only did we just break apart from Union, we actually grabbed a part of Cranford as well. I don't know how that happened, but maybe they seceded or whatever, but we ended up getting a part of Cranford as well. And that's how Cranford ultimately, Kenilworth was ultimately made of, mostly from Union, but also a part of Cranford. Now, because we weren't around as Kenilworth back during the Revolutionary War, Kenilworth doesn't get its fair due, fair credit, at least not in writing. So, what she explained to me is that Daniel Sayre, who had this homestead by Blackwood Park, he was actually related to, some of you, I'm sure everyone knows, Hannah Sayre Caldwell, right? That's the lady who has a house on Caldwell Avenue in Union, right? And she, I don't know if we have, you know, we don't have
the county seal.
She's on the county seal, and if you look at the county seal, you actually see her on the seal, and the story behind that is she was a mother of 9, and she was taking care of one of her kids, and for some reason this redcoat, this British soldier, was outside, and he saw her through the window, and he just took his rifle, and for no apparent reason, shot through the window from across the street, killing her, shattering the window, and the glass actually fell on the infant that she was taking care of at the time. Kenilworth also had an area that someone has heard of called Tin Kettle Hill. This is what they call a beacon hill, where we would use it as an outpost, or if there was a situation where troops need to be advised of what's going on down the road, smoke signals, I don't know how they did it, but they would notify other areas of New Jersey or other troops that are, let's say in Springfield or wherever, that there's a danger to be had, or they pass signals from one beacon hill to another. Now, Tin Kettle Hill is no longer there, as I understand it. Much of it was used for the building of the railroads or the parkway or something to that effect. But most of Tin Kettle Hill is no longer there. Anyway, one of the beacon hills was established by James Caldwell, the Reverend James Caldwell, who was Hannah's husband. And he was a deputy quartermaster of the Continental Army. This beacon hill that existed in Kenilworth, Tin Kettle Hill, would signal any approaching British to General Washington and to the countryside. And not only, as you know, there was not only the militia, there was actually the members of the what was Washington's army? The Continental Army, correct. So when in fact the British did invade, causing the Battle of Connecticut Farms in June of 1780, the first thing that this gentleman did, Mr. Caldwell, the Reverend, he went to Tin Kettle Hill and let General Washington know, who was in Morristown. Basically, the British are coming, right? So what happened was not only did they do that, they called everyone to arms, right? So during this Battle of Connecticut Farms, which a lot of was in Kenilworth, was in the area we know now as Kenilworth. That's where a lot of the battle took place, but not only that, there was a call to arms. 1,500 Minutemen arrived to Kenilworth and Union during this battle. Not only the Minutemen, but the militia, local farmers. All right, it's the reason why we had the Second Amendment, right? They came and bore arms, and they fought the British. And it started on June 7th, 1780, and it went well into the night. Then there was almost like a not really a ceasefire, but there was a lull in the action when nighttime fell. Then what happened was a surprise attack right before dawn, and that was by our guys. Right? They attacked the British. So the British came, but they didn't leave Connecticut Farms. So they lost that, and after that surprise attack, it was over. The battle was over. So, and much of that battle took place in what we know now as Kenilworth, with people who lived in this area. And this is something that that's why we don't get recognition for this, because again, we didn't exist at the time. So, and then she adds a little more history regarding this, but I'll just skip most of it. But she does end with stating that our country's 250th anniversary is coming up in a couple of years, right, 2026, right? So she asked that, in the future, that the future governing bodies, keep in mind that we do hopefully do something, a parade or something to the effect like that, for the 250th anniversary. And this is probably back to a time, I remember when I was in second grade, it was 1776. It was a big deal, the 200th anniversary, they actually came out with special quarters and everything like that, so, hopefully I'll be around in 2000, alive, not here, but hopefully I'll be in 2026, to help
It's
count
only
solid.
a couple of years from
Yeah,
now.
that's true, but hey, listen, don't worry about tomorrow, that's it. But that's all I have, and actually I would like to thank Dorothea for taking the time to actually handwrite this and giving her, and she's actually doing more work regarding the Revolutionary War and Kenworth's involvement.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for that little history lesson there. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Have a
Thanksgiving.
wonderful time
Thanksgiving.
with your families.